An opportunity to grow. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Recovery Classroom. My name is Drew. I am alcoholic. Today, I'm a recovering alcoholic, and I cannot be any more grateful. It could definitely be warmer, but not any more grateful. I thought this cold weather spell was behind us. I guess not, but that's okay because it's warming up. This too shall pass. So it'll be better temperatures later on this week, and I'm excited. Yesterday, I started talking about resentments and whether or not they're really such a bad thing after all. We've been taught, we've been conditioned, been beaten to our brain, so to speak, that resentments are bad. Oh, you're going to drink again. If you have a resentment, you're going to drink again. And it's just not true at all. Resentment is just like any other emotion, anxiety, excitement, joy, happiness, fear. It's just like any other emotion. Emotions are natural occurring emotions. We can't control how we feel per se, but we can control what we do as a result of feeling those emotions. And I shared yesterday about how I would use my resentment, I would use my emotions to justify my behavior of drinking. It wasn't the resentment or the emotions that caused me to drink. No, I allowed myself to drink. But in order to justify my drinking, I always use resentment, or I use my emotions. We should feel emotions, absolutely. Matter of fact, we spent years drinking and drugging to suppress those emotions. And so when we get clean and sober, well, we have now accepted the responsibility of feeling all emotions, good, bad, and different. Right? So that's part of getting sober, is to feel all emotions. But somewhere along the line, we said, hey, you can't feel resentment. You can't have resentment because it's going to cause you to drink. Again, I just don't believe that at all. Again, we use resentments. We use these emotions as a result, or as an excuse, I should say, to start drinking and drugging again. Fortunately, I don't want to drink and drug. We've been taught that resentments, that emotions that we're feeling are bad. We've been taught that resentments are bad through the 4-step in a 12-step program, typically a 4-step. With AA, I can speak to AA. The 4-step, we make a list of all the people we are angry with, and we identify what our part was. To give you an example, let's say I'm feeling a certain way and I go off and I do something. And whenever I do this action, it pisses somebody else off. And that person comes back and retaliates and pisses me off. So now I might have went from, say, fear. I felt fearful and I took some sort of action which pissed off this person over here. They came back and did something to me which made me not fearful, but now made me angry. That's kind of what step 4 does. And so it's natural when you're going through this inventory list, it's perfectly natural to start thinking, well, resentments are a bad thing. But see, resentments are not necessarily a bad thing because they're a growth opportunity. Part of that step 4 work, whenever I realize, okay, I acted out of fear, I took action out of fear, which pissed this person off, that's growth. That means I'm growing. I realize now what my part was, and I can start becoming aware, more cognizant of my actions that I take based off an emotion that I'm feeling. But part of that step work, part of that 4-step work that I always find interesting is what happens whenever I didn't have a part in whatever action pissed me off. What happens? Yeah, my friends who know me, they know that I love running. I love running. Let's say I go into the bank one day to cash a check, and a bank robber comes in and he's wanting money, and he does the Tanya Harding, Nancy Kerrigan on my kneecap, and all of a sudden I can't run anymore. I won't be able to run for the rest of my life. Of course I'm going to be pissed off. Of course I'm going to be resentful to that bank robber. Of course I am. It's a naturally occurring emotion that I'm going to feel there. The growth opportunity, and this is the missed growth opportunity. The growth opportunity there is it's natural for me to be pissed off and angry and resentful towards that bank robber who kneecapped me and now I won't be able to run ever again in my life. It makes sense. But I don't need to carry it around. And being able to feel that resentment, acknowledge that resentment, and then release that resentment will allow me to have my open road to recovery for the rest of my life. It's whenever we don't release that resentment, especially in those situations where we had no control. I just walked into the bank to cash a check, right? And I get kneecapped. We had no control of that. And it's whenever those resentments that we feel, those naturally occurring emotions, whenever we release those and let those go, well, then we have that open road to recovery for the rest of our life. Resentment, again, is a naturally occurring emotion. It's like any other emotion. It doesn't mean you're automatically going to drink or start drugging again. That's bullshit. I allow myself to drink or drug, and I use the resentment. I use these emotions as an excuse. That's always been the case. Emotions don't cause us to drink. They give us an excuse to drink, and that's the message I want to remind you of today. Resentments actually create opportunities for growth, but they also allow me to start establishing boundaries to protect myself going forward. So with that being said, I'm way out of time. Thank you guys for letting me come in and share 5 to 10 minutes of your day with you. This, you guys absolutely keep me sober, and I cannot be any more appreciative. We'll be talking again soon. Remember, guys, you can't get drunk if you don't take the first drink.